She's a powerful voice for this nation. Her story is the American story. She knows about all the obstacles thrown in the way of so many in our country. Women, black Americans, South Asian Americans, immigrants, the left out and the left behind. But she's overcome every obstacle she's ever faced.
On Wednesday, California Senator Kamala Harris made history by becoming the first woman of color to accept the Democratic nomination for vice president. Harris's historic nomination comes just after the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which granted women the right to vote. But even with that amendment in place, not all women were able to vote in U.S. elections. An article recently published by AP News entitled "How Black Women Cleared a Path for Harris to be the VP Pick" explores how the resiliency and determination of black women in America's history led to Kamala Harris's historic nomination. AP News national race and ethnicity writer and author of that article, Kat Stafford, joins us now. Welcome, Kat. Thank you so much for being with us. If you could first put this into perspective for us, what is the historical significance of Senator Harris's nomination, given the role black women play in U.S. politics?
So first, I think we need to step back and take a look, as you alluded to earlier, in how Black women historically have been at the forefront. They have been leading movements in this country for quite a long time. So to have this full circle moment where we now have the first Black woman, the first Asian American woman as well, to be a vice presidential candidate on a major party ticket, it's absolutely historic. But more than that, what a lot of people have been telling me on the ground is that they are hopeful that this will usher in more Black women, more opportunities for women of color across the nation to really ascend into these roles that for too long have been out of reach for them.
And in her acceptance speech, Senator Harris mentioned the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment and gave thanks to all of the men and women who paved the way for her. Let's listen to what she had to say.
These women and the generations that followed worked to make democracy and opportunity real in the lives of all of us who followed. They paved the way for the trailblazing leadership of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And these women inspired us to pick up the torch and fight on. Women like Mary Church Terrell, Mary Cloyd Bethune, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Diane Nash, Constance Baker Motley, and the great Shirley Chisholm.
And Kat, it has been 48 years since Shirley Chisholm sought the Democratic nomination for president. This is something that, a lot of Americans are not so familiar with. But how has her legacy provided a foundation for women of color like Harris?
So Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman to be in Congress, so that's historic on its own right. But to have her in 1972 step on that Democratic stage and say, I want to be president of this country, that words can't even describe how historic that is. So when you have Senator Kamala Harris get on that stage and make an ode, make a note to all of these Black women, Shirley Chisholm, Fannie Lou Hamer, such civil rights legends who literally, as she said, have paved the way, is monumental. And for Black women especially, for so long, their contributions to this nation have been pushed to the sidelines. As you stated, a lot of people don't know that Black women play such a crucial role in the women's suffrage movement. And I think it's important that out the gate, we saw Kamala Harris really make note that these women have paved the way, not just for her, but for everyone in this country to get to the point where we are now.
And Kat, Black women are still vastly underrepresented in the Democratic Party, despite being its most loyal voting bloc. What are young activists doing to help get more Black women on tickets and elected?
So we know historically Black women have been the ones to usher their families, their friends, their neighbors to the polls. And right now, that is really what we are seeing on the ground across the country. I've been in touch with a lot of younger activists, Black women who are saying, look, This is the most consequential election in our lifetime, and we need to make sure that our families and our friends really know what's at stake here. I was speaking with an activist in Georgia who, in this moment, is going door to door, even in the midst of a pandemic, just to try and connect with people to say, hey, we need to get out and vote. So right now, people are feeling energized, people are feeling hopeful, but we will see what happens in November.
And so whether or not the Biden-Harris ticket wins in November, how do you think women of color will continue building on this political momentum moving forward? I mean, we can talk again and again how historic Harris's VP nomination is, but obviously the future is what also counts. So moving forward, what do you think will build on this?
So I like to reference Stacey Abrams' historic run for governor in 2018 because what we saw come out of that was really a new wave of Black women ascending into these roles, like I stated earlier, that for so long have been out of reach, right? And so a lot of people are predicting that even if, say, the Biden-Harris ticket is unsuccessful and they don't clinch this White House bid, people believe that we will still see more Black women seek office. We will see more women of color step into these roles within their communities. Look at Lauren Underwood. She is a congresswoman, one of the youngest congresswomen, and she ran in a majority white district and won. So just think about that and let that sink in for a moment. Could this be a predictor of what's to come in the future? I think so.
All right. Well, Kat Stafford, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.